Why do white neurodivergent people have such a problem with black art?
It's intellectual laziness, dishonesty, and polite racism combined with neurodivergence. I'm saying they're being intellectually lazy and dishonest because a lot of their reasons for why they don't like black music typically are hypocritical and don't hold weight under the reality of what they actually listen to anyway. Often say that black music is overstimulating, that rap music is too loud and too aggressive, or the lyrics are too fast and they can't understand it and it's just overstimulating to them. Meanwhile, they're listening to all sorts of hyper pop and various forms of electronic music with very complex breakbeats, high BPM numbers, and sometimes music lyrics that just they would typically fall under their criteria of overstimulating and hard to listen to or get into. These are the same people who listen to video game OSTs with rap music and rap lyrics in them, rap vocals, rap production even, but still say they don't like rap music, despite the fact that they were just bopping to the Knuckles levels from Sonic Adventure 2. Nintendo fans that won't listen to black music at all while not recognizing that the Super Mario Brothers Level 1 theme is Calypso music, just 8-bit. I say that they're being intellectually lazy and dishonest because they're not willing to challenge their biases when it comes to how they talk about black music. Say that rap music only talks about thug shit, or it's all about guns and drugs and all of this stuff that's just wrong in the world. What makes it worse is that they're totally unwilling to see examples of the contrary. They're not willing to listen and get a deeper perspective on things. They would much rather just write it off as, oh, it's just thug music, and I don't like that. That kind of goes into the whole thing of polite racism, because ultimately, a lot of autistic people, especially northern, more liberal-minded autistic people, they know that racism is seen as bad. They know that it's not right it's not right to be racist, but their idea of what racism is typically comes in the form of something way more overt, like white nationalists, Klansmen, people saying slurs on the internet. So they don't often recognize that what they're saying sounds or just plain is racist because they don't see it as the most obvious kind of racism. In their mind, they're not being racist because they didn't say anything that sounded like a slur. They didn't say any jokes about black people. They didn't say anything about how, we like watermelon and chicken and yada yada. It makes sense when you think about how a lot of these people were socialized under polite racist environments while not really being able to pick up on social cues or subtleties or nuance. I'm just going to say it. You have no excuse, especially after someone has made you aware that what you're doing or saying is rooted in racism and racial bias. So, being autistic is one thing. Being willfully ignorant, especially after someone has made you aware, is a whole other thing. If someone calling you out on your racial biases and racist behavior is upsetting to the point of you having meltdowns and you feel like you can't handle it, I need you to remember that that's a you problem and you need to fucking fix it. Now, on the matter of polite racism combined with neurodivergence, we talked about polite racism. Let's bring more of the neurodivergence into it, where, in a sense, they know that racism is wrong. They know that on a societal level, if they are caught or seen being racist, it will make them look bad. And so they will try to avoid it, but a lot of times they will try to avoid it in maybe the cheapest way possible. Cheapest way possible being, as long as nobody says that I'm doing something or being racist, then I'm fine. And if I can just avoid that and still keep my thoughts the way that they've always been and not have to change the way that I behave, then I'm good. Like, if someone like that knows that saying that they don't like rap music is rooted in some kind of racial bias or is likely to be called out for being rooted in racial bias, they will blame their autism or say that their autism has something to do it because they know it was an acceptable reason for a bunch of other way more valid circumstances. As if to say, you can't say that I'm being racist. This is a part of my brain chemistry and how my brain is wired. That's just how I work. You can't call me racist for that. That's not racism. That's autism. And they're doing it the way they do it because they recognize a pattern. In their mind, they think, well, if I say I don't like it because it's overstimulating or it negatively impacts me as a neurodivergent person, then they won't question me anymore. And deep down, they're just hoping that you're more afraid of being called an ableist than you are not being anti-racist. As I'm sure many of you noticed, inside and outside of the spectrum, that whenever folks like that are called out on their behavior, whether it's just toxic, racist, insufferable, or just straight up annoying, they are quick to call you an ableist in the hopes that you'll back down and the hopes that everyone else will surround you and spend more time calling you ableist than calling them problematic. But if we're being absolutely grounded and rooted in reality here, despite what one might feel and how deeply they feel it, calling out racism is not ableist. Calling out racism in a neurodivergent person is in no way, shape, or form ableist. Let's be absolutely real here. Under no circumstances does your neurodivergence excuse your racism. So you calling someone ableist because they called you out on your racist behavior or your racial biases isn't going to work here. It's not going to fly. You're still going to be considered racist. I don't care if you're low support needs, high masking, low masking, it doesn't matter. Your autism does not excuse your racism. Your neurodivergence does not excuse your racism. Honestly, no amount of neurodivergence is going to excuse you from doing the work because you have to do the work. If you have a PDA profile and don't like being told what to do, too fucking bad. Because unless you do the work and unless you challenge your internal biases, then you're still going to be considered racist. You're still going to be seen as racist. Because nobody said you can't dislike rap music or you can't not be into it. There's styles of music that I'm not into. I don't listen to power metal because I don't really like power metal. And it's not bad music. I don't think there's anything wrong with power metal. I'm just not into it. It's when you start couching everything in biased language that it starts to get really weird and awkward and problematic. Because ultimately what you're saying is that you would much rather cling to your biases. As a person who is neurodivergent, who deals with biased perspectives on you as a neurodivergent person all the time, I would hope that you would know to do better. When you say that the cause of your biases in this context are a matter of your neurodivergence, then you're ultimately saying that you are neurologically racist, as if you're implying that you are born racist. You are genetically predisposed to being racist. And racism is a learned quality. It is something that you learn from the people around you. You were clearly taught to be racist. You were clearly taught to have racist behaviors and biases. And trying to excuse it is only going to make it worse. And as far as excuses that a person could make up, really the only valid response to that is, oh my God, you people can't do anything.